All right, Friday night vintage, and I have 4 here to show. And some of these first couple, I have basically 3 from the 70s, the mid 70s, and 1 from the 50s. And it's debatable as to whether or not the 70s can be considered vintage, but at some point, these cards are now over 40 years old, so I'm going to qualify them as vintage. And what I'm going to do going forward is kind of separate the vintage cards into the Friday Night Vintage videos, and then anything that's not vintage will be in its own series of videos. And I have something coming up next week to that effect. But anyway, let's get started. First up, I've got this 76 Topps Nolan Ryan in a really nice PSA 8. I was looking for 8.5s. I still need like 5. Well, now I need 4 left from the 70s to finish the 70s run. But this looked really good and saved a whole ton of money in the process. So super happy to get it. An 8 of this quality. I actually picked up well over a dozen Nolan Ryan cards in the last few weeks. I mentioned in my year-end video that I was going to start collecting Nolan Ryan and doing like a run. And I've started the process. So I was going to wait till the very end to kind of show them all together. But if there's any interest in seeing what I've accumulated up to this point, just comment down below, and I guess I can make a video showing where I am. But a lot of it's like mid to late 80s Ryan cards in high grade. Okay, up next, one for the key rookie cards of the 70s collection. It's this Gary Carter, and this one is also a PSA 8. And really nice centering too. Honestly, I don't see any chipping along the borders. I didn't really scrutinize it all that much, but it looks really good. And there's a couple more. I don't have a Jim Rice graded card, and Robin Yount. That's another, probably the biggest 70s rookie card missing from my collection. Okay, so both those guys are Hall of Famers. These next two are not. They certainly would qualify for the Hall of Very Good, right up there with Harold Baines. Let me just pull this back up over here. Okay, Dave Parker from 1974 Topps, 8.5. This guy had a really good career, and I think part of the snub comes in that he was involved with drugs later in his career. I think cocaine or something. So, but this guy was a dominant player throughout the 70s and into the early 80s. Solid career, but not quite Hall of Fame numbers. But anyhow, it's pretty good rookie card from the 70s. And again, it's not too expensive because he's not a Hall of Famer, and he had his his off-field issues, which probably doesn't help the value of the card either. Okay, and lastly is probably the best guy you never heard of, or most people maybe haven't heard of. But it's the rookie card of VII from 1958 Topps. Now, this guy just was really good for a very long time. Kind of like a Ted Simmons, kind of like a Steve Garvey. He put up about 2,800 career hits, hit for a high average, over 300 a few times. I think overall ended up at like 290 or so for his career. Made a couple All-Star games. Qualified for the MVP vote, never won. But just a solid ball player. This guy certainly undervalued, and again, probably a lot of folks just aren't familiar with him or his career. Kind of an unsung, under the radar ball player from the 50s and 60s. And that will do it for Friday Night Vintage. And like I said, so on the horizon, I'm going to bust that other box of $89 if I haven't done it already. I'm actually recording this video before Friday. I'm going to upload it on Friday just to get this out of the way now. And then I have a pretty substantial video of modern cards on the horizon. That's probably going to be for next week. And yeah, stay tuned for that. And that's it. So again, thanks for watching. And I'll see you later.